So, what's the investment fact of the week?
In light of the market being down, even Microsoft over its 5 year period is at the 50% retracement. I want to give you insight over the last decade. Over the last decade, Nvidia is up 4,000%, Tesla's up 2,000, Meta's up 1,000, Amazon is up 500%, Google up 350%, Microsoft up 180%, and Apple's up 85%. So even though in light of the market falling apart in short, if you're holding for a 10-year period, there are massive returns to be had there. And point number two, going back to Amazon, before 2030, you're going to see Amazon, which is massively invested in AI, replace all factory workers and all drivers. It would be 100% robotic, which means all of those workers are going to go away, and UPS and FedEx shortly will follow thereafter. So kind of like in 1998 and 99 when the internet phase came in and the dot-com era was ushered in and it changed the way the workforce was done. A part of the reason why you're seeing some of this correction and so much fear.
Mhm.
And we once we did this at the NVIDIA tour, you saw that they already had the robots in place.
Mhm.
By 2030, Amazon is going to replace all factory workers, which is incredibly scary for the economy and those who work in those fields. So keep your eyes on companies that follow suit as well.
Yeah, I think it's vitally important to look at these companies from a long-term perspective. I agree 100%. I think we've had the privilege, I would say, over the past 6 months to be at some of these hyperscaler companies. Obviously, we visited
Yes.
Meta. Everybody has seen us at NVIDIA. We were at Microsoft. And every time we go to these companies, there's a level of calmness that they have in these environments.
Mhm.
And shout out to everybody that pulled up to the options class last Thursday. It was incredible. But we unpacked Microsoft a little bit from the standpoint of if you loved it at 500, you have to love it at 400, right? Like, but understanding the why it's pulling back, right? Is it a
Mhm.
software story? Is it an internal issue? Is it a capex story? And when you start unpacking the layers, you start to see a different picture.
Mhm.
Um, and so I look at it like, yo, this is a definitely opportune time, but we have to see it as that. And we have to figure out when we're going to accumulate shares, right? So I've seen people say, hey, it was at 398 and today's at 387. Do you still like it?
Mhm.
Yeah, I like it even more.
Yeah.
Right. And so we got to have that long term perspective. The reason that the people are in these places feel so calm is because they know what's down the road. They can see the
Mhm.
innovation. We kind of came up
Absolutely.
with this short term pain for long term gain, and literally we're watching that happen from a lot of the large cap or mega cap companies. They're taking some pain points right now,
Mhm.
but the capex spend is because they saw the long term gain and long term vision. Especially the Max 7, when they have the long term vision that's laid out and you can hear the conviction inside of their executives, it gives you a level of confidence as well.
And it's nefarious. I will be honest, but one of the reasons why a lot of these companies are incredibly excited is because they get to offload the cost of human capital and put it into non-human capital, being robotics. It's a great point that you brought up, and it's kind of like if you're playing ball and you're watching the demeanor of a team. Amazon, Nvidia, Meta, even in this tumult that's going on in the market, like you said, they're incredibly calm,
Mhm.
almost optimistic so much, but they can't show that to the public because there's so much unrest in the markets. But yeah, the thing to keep your eye on is how much, because they, to be a low cost provider, you have to cut prices down. So
Mhm.
while it sucks for the job market, for them, it's going to knock their profit margin up probably 16 or 17%, which will make them even more of a darling stock long term.
Yeah, and that's something major for a company like Amazon. When you look at, we always talk about their margins, right? If you look at
Yes,
all the hyperscalers, they probably have the thinnest margins. And so if you look
absolutely.
at where it's being spent, if it's workforce, if it's insurance, if it's cap, they can, if they can figure out how to get greater margins, you're talking about a $4 trillion company, right? And so like you can see why they're trying to spend as much as they're spending more than anyone because they know
Yes.
if they get those margins to move up maybe 5%. I mean, you're talking billions of dollars in revenue, and so it makes sense when you understand that story.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we definitely have to pay attention to the sign of the times. We got tariffs, a new round of tariffs that was announced as far as the Supreme Court said that it was it was out of his jurisdiction to do the first round of tariffs. So he implemented a new global temporary tariffs, and we saw the Dow down 800 points today. So I do think this speaks to fears of AI. I mean, I don't know what you want to call it, the AI bubble or AI distribution or AI disruption.
Let's go with disruption.
But it's a lot. We can't ignore it. We can't ignore that. There's a lot of uncertainty and people that's nervous.
Yeah,
And they
for
have
sure.
every right to be.
Yeah, I think a disruption is very. I think that's a good choice of words. I think it feels. I was having this conversation earlier today. It feels like a little bit like 2025 in the sense when we got to the end of January, we had the DeepSeek moment, right? And then we had the idea of tariffs coming into place, and then I'm looking at reports now, right? DeepSeek is about to release 4.0. Right, I think the release is probably supposed to be imminent, and it's supposed to, shake up AI again. And I'm like, we've seen this scenario before, right? We had tariffs last year. I'm like, this feels very similar. And what did we notice about that pattern? Right, we saw the mega cap companies pull back. This time, it feels like the Max 7 specifically is getting hit. Software is being hit, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But what did they all do toward the tail end of the year? Right, Nvidia dropped down to $97 in late January. By the end of December, we were at 189. Right, so there was opportune times for us to say, okay, we've seen this story before. We understand how this is going to play out. The tariffs aren't going to be as widespread. I know, like last time he was saying, I'm charging 90% and 120%, and we're going to double it if you try to match us. And now it's like this, hey, there's going to be this 10% tariff. So I feel like people have started to become desensitized to it. The interesting part around the tariffs is what happens on that back end, right? That refund that corporations are now going to be suing. So we just saw FedEx file suit today, right? They're saying, hey, we had to pay those tariffs. When is the refund coming? Where's that going to come from? We'll see. It's an interesting time. But if we pay attention to the signs, I feel like this story has played out before. So we just got to be patient. And when opportunities present themselves, we got to invest.
One quick note: the difference is, well, notice this. Every time we say that the market is reflective of another year, it's not a positive year. We're not saying it looks like 2010, 2012. And also in the private markets, there's some contraction there. Blue Owl had 300 billion under management, 19 straight quarters of growth, but they're down 50% for the year, and now they're halting redemptions. That's a canary in a coal mine scenario. So Rashad, to your point, a combination of tariffs, AI disruption, geopolitical unrest, growing debt, growing consumer debt. Even if you don't know a lot about the markets, you can feel like something is off and we're just not being told what it is yet. So while I do think it's an opportune time to invest, we have to be mindful of there's a bunch of cards on the table right now that are not forward-facing that look incredibly well. Or showing signs of a healthy economy or healthy leadership at all.
Yeah. What does healthy leadership look like anymore?
It's been a long time. It's been a long time. Gavin, I know it wasn't a group of black people, but nevertheless, the commentary was not the best. Bill Clinton would never. Bill Clinton would have never. I miss George Bush. I'm not even gonna lie.
It feels like, why not just have
We're gonna talk about Troy froze.
That again, right? Like what?
Yeah, you froze for a minute. But we're gonna talk about Gavin Newsom on Blackout for sure, because that was crazy in Atlanta.